Welcome back to Inspirational Living. I'm your host, Shonda Jenkins, and this month's theme is about helping you bloom through harnessing resilience, living a more purposeful life, embracing the unknown, or turning your big dreams into a reality. Today, I have with me Alison Hughey. She is a music therapist and owner of Carolina Music Therapy, LLC. Today, she's going to be talking about how to harness resilience. Welcome to the show, Alison Hughey. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Great to connect with you today.
Yeah. And tell us about your what you do as far as with your music therapy. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm really in love and obsessed with all the ways that music helps us in life and helps make the world a better place. I think that there's so many different layers of ways that we use music, whether it be listening in the car and singing in the car, singing in the
Yeah.
shower, or being a part of an ensemble or sing together in a group like a choir or a chorus, or going to a concert, or writing music as a form of self-expression, or using music and healing practices, or with music therapy. Like, there's so many different ways that it can be useful in our lives, and I think it's
Yeah.
something that we often don't think about its impact. So a
Hmm.
lot of times, especially in the past 75 years or so, music has been more so in the category of just entertainment, and there's less music making at home, and there's less singing for fun. There's more people out there that think, well, I don't sound like Beyonce, so never mind, I just can't sing, or I don't have rhythm because I can't perform like so and so. It's I think we're all inherently musical, and we all have the rhythm of our heart inside of
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
and we all have voices. Our voices are different. It would be a very boring place if we all sounded the same. So I'm passionate about continuing to see how I can be a catalyst for positive change in the world through music, and whether that be with music therapy and clinical approaches, or community music and drumming, or retreat facilitation. So uh,
Wow.
yeah, I love exploring that and continuing to learn and try new things as I go along.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this music therapy or just in the music space?
So I remember when I was a little girl being, super short, and being in the choir loft with my grandmother at her church, and being so short that you couldn't see me with everybody standing up, and just being really in love with the sound, and playing with that as a kid. And then music really hooked me in middle school, and I started playing flute, and it was like this awesome timing because, of course, being an angsty teenager, uh,
Yeah.
having an outlet, but then also, in retrospect, I realized I was starting to have symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Mm.
And back then, that wasn't really talked about as much with teenagers. It was just, oh, it's hormones, you're a teenager. And so I feel like that was a big help for me through those years. And playing flute, you've got to extend your exhale, and so
Oh,
you're connecting with your breath. You're being a part of an ensemble, and that connection. Everybody's in training to the beat because we're all on the same page, literally, and
yeah.
I had to deal with stage fright along the way too, which was a whole nother deal. But so I really, was very into music in those years, and use music in my own ways for my own well being that sometimes were just, intuitive, and I didn't really think about until later on.
Yeah.
And then some ways were more purposeful. But um, I studied flute performance in college, and because everybody told me you're good enough to be a performance major, and I thought, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but like, I had a serious relationship at the time, and I thought, well, I'll be a stay at home mom, and I'll do some flute lessons in the afternoons and that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
that didn't work out. And so I graduated. It was like, okay, now what do I do? So
Yeah.
I patched together some different jobs and did, some performing and playing for weddings. And I started doing preschool music lessons,
Yeah.
not lessons, but groups. And so I would tote around a keyboard and some different instruments and do music with these programs. And one day I snagged my keyboard as I was lifting it out of my trunk.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like 25, and I didn't know that twisting and lifting was not a good combination. So
Yeah.
when I did that, something went wrong in my lower back, and then I had awful, awful pain for like, probably at least 5 or 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Anything that nothing that showed up on the MRI or any exams from a doctor indicated an injury that would be causing this extended pain,
Hmm.
but I was experiencing it. And at the time, I didn't have insurance, and I was 25, and so going to these doctors, I got a lot of assumptions that I was medication seeking and that I was lying about my pain.
Mm.
So it was this, combination of chronic pain and, being in my 20s, I never had this kind of pain in my body before. And then having, people that I was trying to get care from being condescending about it and
Mm.
doubting what I was saying about my own experience. And so I found myself using music to cope with that. And I was tapping out rhythms and like doing toning or, extended vocalizations instead of, screaming in pain when I'd have a big jab of pain. And so along this time, that helped me through both depression and dealing with the physical pain, and then being able to finally connect with a physical therapist that was amazing and helping me recover. Um, Along this time, I met
Yeah.
a friend of a friend who was one of the first students in the new music therapy program at Converse College, where I went
Yeah.
to school initially. And so I got to talking to her, and she said, "Yeah, I'm a student at Converse." And I said, "Oh, what are you studying?" And she said, "Music therapy." And it was like, boom,
Um,
light bulb went off. Like, I think I need to go back to school and let's learn more about what music therapy was and all that stuff. And decided to go back to school, and that was like 15, 16 years ago.
wow.
Yeah, and so completed those courses that I didn't have previously. So all the extra psychology, anatomy and physiology, and core music therapy classes, all that jazz, and then my internship and clinicals and stuff. And so I've been a music therapist for 13 years now, which
Oh
is
wow. That is
may not
amazing.
seem like it's been that long, but it has. And continue to learn new things along the way from there and study new techniques. And yeah.
Wow. Your story is resilience.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Like hearing you talk about that and how you were trying to convince doctors that you were experiencing pain and they were thinking you were basically delusional and
Hmm.
having to just basically deal with the pain on your own and using music to help you get through that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Tell us about how to harness resilience because you are a resilient person.
Thank you. Yeah. Along the way, I also ended up a very unhealthy marriage as well, and
Mm,
uh, verbal psychological abuse too. So it's as the Grateful Dead said, "What a long, strange trip it's been." It's,
yeah.
yeah, and you mentioned resilience, and I'm grateful that I I found my own internal strengths along the way, and sometimes still deal with doubt and that sort of stuff. But it's been um, so many things that have helped me along the way with friends and family and faith and music and so many things. So um, yeah, I can't say that I can take all the credit for that resilience.
Yeah. So for someone that might be wanting to harness resilience, and even though, you didn't do it all by yourself, how do we even get them to that point to even harness resilience?
Um, to me, I think often, everyone's different, but um, often when we go through experiences that challenge that resilience, or we go through struggles, that uh, a lot of times that doubt kicks in, or that negativity. It can be our own internal critic, and really that's our brain trying to keep us safe
Yeah.
and tell us, oh, you shouldn't do this new thing because here's the box we've been living in and we're still alive, and if we do this other thing, we might not be
Mhm.
alive, or we might be ostracized or whatever. Excuse me. So I think between that, and then also all the things that we pick up from the media, from society at large, and some of the things that we've been raised in that aren't helpful, we can
Mhm.
challenge um, those beliefs, challenge those things that we've been fed or picked up along the way. That a lot of that deals with the mental side of things and the thinking, so we can get caught in these thought loops, or have certain things that trigger a thought. And so the first step would be becoming aware of when that pops up.
Yeah.
I love what I think it was either Louise Hay or um, Abraham Hicks, maybe.
Okay.
Remember, who was it? Um, Talking about when a thought comes up, asking yourself, "Is this true?"
Mhm.
Asking yourself, what do I get from this thought? What
Mhm.
benefit? Is it a helpful thought, or is it a thought that's unhelpful in this moment? Um, Practices like meditation, and mindfulness can help us become more aware of when those thoughts pop up, so we're not immediately clinging onto them and listening to them and being pulled along by that thought. Um, so I think challenging those thoughts is really helpful, and then deciding what thoughts we do want to hang on to.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mentioned faith earlier being a big part of what helps me, and um, there's a verse in Philippians, I think, that in the Bible that says, whatever is true, whatever is pure, whatever is um, helpful. It lists a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Think about these things. So, like,
Yeah.
instead of focusing so much on this one thing, like being able to challenge that, and then being able to shift that flashlight of attention onto something maybe that would be more helpful, um,
Yeah.
that is true, and it still being aware of the stuff that does come up, like, so not just bypassing that, but at the same time challenging that, and then refocusing your thoughts. And for me, music can be really helpful in that, and in those themes. So finding a song that embodies a thought or a feeling about yourself and your resilience that you want to support. So
Yeah.
finding a song that mentions that in the lyrics or the vibe, or if a song reminds you of a particular time that you've been really brave, um,
Yeah.
and a time in your life that you've felt like a badass, listening to that song is like a memory bookmark, and it's
Yeah.
not just the memories of the thoughts of the facts of, okay, I was here at this year and this time and da 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 da. Like, it's so closely tied in with your emotional memories and
Mm.
your nervous system, and like, sometimes you can put on a song and it feels like you're in a time machine and you're back to when you were listening to that songs with your friends, and or on that trip with somebody, and so that's a fun way that you can use music to boost your resilience.
Yeah. Because it could be bringing back a good memory of that experience.
Yeah, and that embodied sense of confidence or resilience and strength, and helping you remember who you are.
Yeah. So when you went back to school at 25 and to be a sound therapist, like what was going through your mind? I know that was something that you wanted to do. Was there anything that was mental chatter that was getting in the way?
Absolutely. So, making the decision to go back to school, I still had, a good bit of student loans that were still, slowly being chipped away. Um, Making that decision to go back to school meant that I had to decrease the hours I was able to work in
Yeah,
my job, and fortunately, they were able to hold on to me part time while I went back to school, so I was still able to bring in some income. Um, but wondering what what are my career possibilities going to be with this? Am I going to be able to earn enough to pay off my student loans and make a decent living? And going back to school, like you said, as an older student, I was like 26 or so at the time. Everybody else is like 18, 19 years old. My first classes, like the intro classes, and I kind of felt like Josie Grossi and Never Been Kissed when
yeah,
she goes back to the high school. It's like, "What's up, y'all?" or "What's up?" I can't remember what she said. It's like, it was different, and but then getting into it, the more I learned, it was like, yes, this is absolutely what I want to study. Um, and it was challenging, but
yeah,
um, yeah, the more I learned, the more I was eager to learn more.
yeah. So that what kept you going, the
Hmm.
just the learning.
And feeling like it was such a wonderful combination of my interests and things I'm passionate about and skills um and two, I mentioned flute was the big thing that hooked me in with music.
Yeah,
And so I had sung some in like school chorus or at my grandma's church or that kind of thing. But I was gonna say I never sang solo, but I did like a little bit in elementary school and then middle school. And in middle school in seventh grade, we were doing
yeah.
a fundraiser for a field trip and we did a talent show. And I remember I did this 60s medley with a couple of my friends, and I sang a solo on the song Downtown, Downtown, that song. And my voice cracked
Oh
when
my
I was singing
gosh.
part of it. And I was just petrified and felt awful and like just felt like I'm gonna disappear into the stage, like just sink down into the floor. And so from then on out, I had a huge block about singing in front of anybody
Mm,
by myself. And that was something I had to challenge when I went back to school for music therapy, because that's a big part of what is used in music therapy is,
yeah,
singing with clients, encouraging people to sing together in different ways. And so that was a big block I had to get over. And playing piano as well. And that was, something that I hadn't really thought about, but until I was kind of faced with it and playing more, was I had developed this block around piano because I had injured my back really badly with lifting
yeah,
the keyboard out of my car, and so I hadn't really played in quite a while after that. So there was definitely a lot of mental challenges along the way.
yeah. Yeah, because your mind was probably correlating, like tying that to, all right, piano cause injury. If I
Uh-huh.
do that again, then we're going to create an injury.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of us. Is that we're like, I'm not going to do that. Last time I did that, I got hurt or this or that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I got to do training in neurologic music therapy about
Yeah.
7 years ago, and one of the big things that's repeated along that process is what fires together is wired together.
Mm,
So I think that's true in so many different ways.
yeah. That if we keep firing those same things, we got to keep making them stronger. Then your connection.
Hmm.
Wow. So how do someone starting out, like, say me, I'm like, Allison, I can't do this. how do I harness resilience? Like I'm trying to achieve my fitness goals, but I can't do it. Like how can I continue to do it? Last time I did it, I didn't lose any weight, or I didn't stick to it, how do I continue to harness resilience to get through my goals?
Um, my first thought is, looking at times that you've been resilient in the past,
Mhm.
times that you've accomplished things in the past, reminding yourself that you're capable, reminding yourself that you're resilient and that you can do this. And uh, looking at ways to remind yourself of that. So, um, what was a time that you accomplished something that you really had to work at?
Yeah. So I could say like just getting up early, getting my kids up. That's to me an accomplishment.
Yeah, yeah. So, being able to do that consistently, did you have any challenges along the way?
Yeah, not wanting to get up, but I had to get up because I had to get them up for school.
So you really had to get them up for school. Um, so yeah, looking at the why of why taking care of your physical health is important.
Yeah.
So why is that important for you, Shonda?
It's important for me because I just don't want to get old and just not be able to do the things that I like doing now. And that's the main reason why.
Hmm. So, um, thinking, uh, with that and wanting to be able to do those things as you get older, what's one of those things that you enjoy right now that really requires you to be physically fit?
I enjoy hiking.
Uh-huh, cool. So, what's a hike that you've loved going on recently?
Oh, I just recently hiked on I think it was called the South Side Loop at Croft Park.
Hmm.
It's
So,
about 12 miles.
wow, dang. So, when you did that 12-mile hike, what did you
I
feel?
didn't do 12 miles.
Oh, okay. It's
I
like,
did like a quarter of it because I was on time crunch.
yeah,
Um, but I want to do that 12-mile eventually when I get the time.
uh-huh. So, um, you mentioned wanting to be consistent with your physical exercise and taking care of your body, and doing that could help you be able to do that 12-mile hike not only now, but being able to do that in the future as you get
Yeah.
older. Um, so, yeah, another thought would be to, envision yourself being older and doing that 12-mile hike,
Oh, wow.
remembering, how it felt for you or how it feels for you right now to do hikes that you really enjoy. Um, do you mostly listen to the sounds around you in nature, or do you listen to music?
I listen to the sounds,
Okay, yeah.
nature.
Um, so um, I'm thinking with those sounds, listening to those sounds could be a cue for you when you go to work out or go to exercise, that doing those things with your body that is going to help you be able to continue to do those things as you get older. um yeah, going and doing your exercise in places where you could hear those sounds, like, so even
Yeah.
if you're not going for a hike every morning, maybe you could walk around your neighborhood or walk around a park nearby where you're hearing some of those same sounds. Um, so, again, that associative memory, hearing some of those same sounds, like maybe even seeing some of those same things could be helpful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love how you broke that down.
Thank you.
So basically, having someone get to the why, the what, and then really visualizing yourself and then making that that association, that connection to what that is, whether it's the birds chirping outside. And I think that's important to know why you want to do something or know what the what is, or are you probably not going to want to do it?
Yes. And I think everybody is different with motivation in different ways. There's an author, I'm trying to remember who it is. I think it's Gretchen Rubin, that
Okay.
Four Tendencies, and she talks about how, and there's a quiz online to see if you're um, more externally motivated, more
Yeah.
internally motivated, or there's two other types of motivation, but and that can be useful for some people to have, a workout buddy if they're more
Hmm.
externally motivated and having that accountability. I'm more internally motivated, and sometimes even um, kind of challenging assumptions, or challenging being told what to do. Like, I don't like
Yeah.
it all. I don't like the external accountability as much. The accountability can help, but I don't. If somebody tells me you have to do this, like, that does not work well for me. I'm like, I don't want to. You can't make me. But looking at the why is really helpful for me, and bringing music into it, and what we were talking about with
Yeah.
imagining yourself being older and doing those things that you really enjoy, like, um, how does it make you feel, or how would you describe yourself looking ahead at yourself 12 years from now? um, what kind of qualities does that person, or are you embodying in the
Mm.
future, and being able to continue doing those things? And then you could, find songs that you enjoy that reflect that, and maybe you could listen to those songs at whatever time, like, you tell yourself you're going to go get your workout in or get your
Yeah.
exercise in, whatever it be, at 9 o'clock every morning. And then,
Yeah.
at 9 o'clock, put on that song, and that's going to help boost you and help remind you of who you are, who you want to be,
Mm.
what you want to do, and why.
Wow. And I never thought to use music like that. So I'm definitely
Awesome.
I'm definitely gonna do that because sometimes you do need like something to remind you to help you connect with the visual or remind you of the visual that you want your life to be.
Yes.
Wow.
If it's a song that you like, then you're getting a dopamine boost too, and it's lowering your cortisol, which
Oh
is,
wow. So we getting double.
yeah, yeah, and it gets your body moving. So music with a steady beat, that's, above 80, 90 beats per minute, especially, helps get your nervous system into the mode to get moving.
Oh wow.
So sometimes we'll react to a steady beat without even realizing it. If we hear somebody walking down the hall and with their high heel shoes or boots on,
Yeah.
and hear that beat pattern, you'll end up walking in step with that, because that rhythm's like a magnet. And
Yeah.
our nervous system gets that firing going. So our synapses in our brain, our nervous system, going down to our body, it's signaling that movement to us
Yeah.
without us even thinking about it. So I think that's pretty wild, and something that can help us get into action.
Oh wow. And I never really think about like that as a rhythm too, but that is very interesting that even just hearing someone walk down the hallway.
Yeah. Or, there's so many different sounds around us these days in modern life, and you hear, um, the sound of, an alarm going off down the hallway or down the street, or, um, you know, different things like that. Um, we live in a noisy environment for the most
Yes.
part these days, so,
Yeah, we definitely I hear my birds chirping outside right
yeah,
now. But
I love
that's a
that.
good kind of
Yeah.
noise.
Mhm.
So how do you help people with the sound and just in your practice? How do you like help someone in your practice? Like I know we just went over like a little coaching session with me, but how do you help people day to day when it comes to like their own resilience, or even if it's not resilience, how do you help your clients or um customers daily?
So I have my business, which is Carolina Music Therapy, as an umbrella, and then I have
Yeah.
different things under that umbrella. So I have groups that I work with in memory care communities, people with dementia who are in long term care, and that looks very different than clients I see at Converse University in the music therapy clinic. So, a lot of the clients I see at Converse are kids and adults who have special diagnoses like cerebral palsy, autism, ADHD, anxiety, and I see those clients one on one currently versus a group setting and memory care with people with dementia uh,
Yeah.
versus, I've done some groups with Julie Valentine Center, which is a organization that provides services for people who've experienced sexual assault or abuse. So
Mhm.
um, those things look completely different, as well as more wellness focused groups like Health Rhythms Drumming. Do that at Triune Mercy Center in Greenville, and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
summer programs that in retreats and that sort of thing. So whatever client that I'm serving, it begins with getting to know that client, doing an assessment, getting to know their strengths and their needs, and any diagnoses they have, music preferences, cultural preferences, um, things that instruments that might work best for them if we're doing active music making. So
Yeah.
looking at that and then developing a care plan with goals and objectives. So those goals are going to be not musical goals. Like we might be playing an instrument to work on those goals, but the goal is not being able to play this instrument. So
Yeah.
if um, if I'm working with somebody who um, had a brain injury, I might use neurologic music therapy approaches. And for instance, if they're having trouble with speech, we can use melodic intonation therapy and go from singing to speaking, because
Mm.
many people who have difficulty speaking can sing.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
because music is processed in different areas across the brain. So it's like a disco party for the brain and helps with neuroplasticity and connection. So we can go from, uh, you know, singing something to being able to speak it and phasing it
Yeah.
in. So, like I have my water bottle over here and I have a sticker that says I'm enough. I
Oh,
think a
wow.
lot of people struggle with the I'm not enough in different ways. So, including me. So, if I do
Yeah.
I'm enough, and then we could do I'm enough. I'm enough, saying it rhythmically and then being able to say, I'm enough,
Oh, wow.
in fading out those musical prompts. So, um, that's one example with like a brain injury, but with, so the goal for that would be to, improve verbal communication and improve verbal expressive communication. And so the goals of music therapy are linked to, real life day to day things that the person
Mm.
would like to be able to do or needs to do. For people with dementia, it's different because we're more so looking at maximizing their existing functioning, or being able to give them opportunities to feel safe in the environment that they're in, to feel comfort and connection and belonging, versus being able to stop the disease progress of dementia. So it's different depending on the diagnosis, but um, for people with anxiety, often work on improving coping skills, improving self-awareness, those sorts of things, but using music-based approaches uh,
Yeah.
to work toward that. So um, there's so many different ways that music therapy can work in different settings and with different needs, but it comes down to using music-based approaches in a therapeutic relationship with a board certified music therapist, and working toward non-musical goals. um,
Yeah.
so a lot of times that's active music making. I might use lyric analysis or structured breath patterns with music. So there's many different things that kind of fall under that umbrella. And then with wellness based approaches, I use health rhythms, which is wellness drumming, empowerment drumming
Oh,
process
wow.
that a training in. And that includes some music-based meditation and drumming, and then the verbal processing component too. And then there's other things that I've been working on and exploring with music and wellness for myself that I share online, and then I've been sharing in retreat facilitation with singing and using rhythm and somatic practices
Oh, wow.
for system regulation and breath work paired with music and some things like that. So there's
Wow.
lots of different possibilities, and I love that. For me, like, I never get bored. I'm always learning stuff. I'm always, learning how different things can fit together.
Wow. That is like, I just really love how you help your clients.
Thank you.
Like, you
Get me
are,
able to do.
because I was listening to you share like how you help them, and you're actually helping them build resilience and confidence. Like, I'm enough, like singing a song, I'm enough. That is so beautiful.
Thank you. And with that too, like, if we were helping somebody specifically with resilience, and I was working with a client who maybe experienced trauma, experienced things where their autonomy was taken away, whether it be abuse, or somebody who's had a really long extended illness or a hospital
Mm,
stay, or like independence was taken away from them in some way. Rebuilding that resilience, we could use different affirmations like "I'm enough." We could write a song that involves that, make a playlist of songs that affirm that, drum that, use body percussion on that.
oh, yes.
There's so many different ways. Again, I think a beautiful thing about music is that it's processed in so many different areas of the brain. So it helps with that neuroplasticity. It helps with embodying new self beliefs and self
Mm,
concepts. Um, and there's so many possibilities with it
yeah.
because it touches on so many different areas of our brain and our body and our spirit.
Wow. You have shared like so much knowledge on
Thank you,
resilience.
Susan.
Well, because I really like that the songs like that can help empower people, and
Mhm.
like I could just pick a song and have that be, or even just make a song
Yes.
that can really be an expression of what I want myself to believe myself.
Mhm.
Wow. Now, you have shared a lot. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about resilience, or anything that you feel like could be just helpful for someone today? It could be outside of resilience, it could be anything. What you feel like could be helpful for someone today?
Um, I think just as a reminder that we have such amazing access to music these days. As an elder millennial, I remember having cassette tapes and then CDs, and
Yeah.
sometimes you might get something on a CD or it got scratched and you couldn't play it anymore, and trying to go find a specific recording, and hoping that they had it at the record store, or Best Buy or whatever.
Yep.
We have like millions or billions of songs in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing, and it's such a simple, powerful thing we can do to listen to music with intentionality. So whether that be, you have a song that you listen to on your way to work, or a song that you listen to get ready to work out and or do something else that's a goal for you. It can be a source of motivation. It can be a source of helping you unwind after work. And playlist creation is a great thing that you can do with that too. So remember that you have the power to use music in your life for good, and to shift your mood or help process or feel emotions.
Yeah. Definitely. We can use music. I love using music
Yes.
to really, I use music every single day. Like, sometimes before I start my show, I have music on because I want to be in a good mood when I meet someone. If I'm not in a good mood, then I get myself in that good mood. And music has always been something that really has really filled and inspired my souls. So
Yes.
I'm so thankful that you're using your gifts and you're helping people in your practice. And so I just want to tell you, like, I'm so thankful that you're doing that for our community, and maybe you're touching people outside of our community as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And thank you for joining us today. Tell everybody how they can find you, Allison. Do you do things online, or are you just local? And just tell them your website and everything, how they can find you.
So I mostly do services locally in Spartanburg, South Carolina area. I do offer some retreat facilitation at different events like Lake Eden Arts Festival. I'm doing that again next month.
Oh, wow.
And I'm hosting my first healing arts retreat in June or July,
Yay!
excuse me, July 13th through 16th. And
Okay.
that's going to start out in Landrum, South Carolina at Songhill Reserve. And we'll have 2 nights and 3 days of some connection, creativity, fun, lightheartedness, nature, and then those who wish can continue on after Saturday morning to go up to Asheville for Rising Appalachia's 2-day festival called Catalyst.
Oh, wow.
And that's a 2-day festival of healing arts, music, and education. And I'm so excited for that. And so you can find more about that at rockandretreat.com. So pairing up retreats and music experiences, connecting with people who also love music and have a healing heart and want to connect with others.
Yeah. Wow.
And you
That
can
is
find me
amazing
on.
that you're doing a retreat.
Thank you. I'm excited. And let me tell you, like, I know we're about to be out of time, but just the serendipity of it all was I booked the retreat venue, and then I was journaling and writing out the outline for things, and doing a kind of a doodle of
Yeah.
what I want people to come away with and what I want people to feel during the process. And I wrote some of Rising Appalachia's lyrics.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of their songs is Wider Circles. We're moving in wider circles. We're opening our circles. And it says, let's form a great salvation through harmony and
Mm.
sound. And we'll know the wheel of progress like nature's always round.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I wrote some of those lyrics and these, connected hearts and that kind of thing. And then a few days later, I had the idea for Rock and Retreat, and
Oh,
pairing
wow.
a concert with a retreat, like, because music's like a mutual friend. If you meet
Yeah.
somebody that likes a similar song or artist, it's like the same person almost.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, like, I'm totally going to try that for my next event or like next year. And then a few days later, I saw that Rising Appalachia had announced this festival, and it starts the day that my retreat ends. It's like, and it's in the same geographical area. Like, okay, universe, like,
I know, right?
I guess we're doing this now. Let's do this.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That
Yeah,
that worked out. That's how you know.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
how you know when things are right,
Yes,
because of all that synchronicity. Oh my gosh.
yes. So rockandretreat.com.
Okay, that
Yep.
is.
Kind of like rock and roll, but rock and retreat.
Yeah, I like that. I
Thank
like it.
you.
I was like, it sounds like rock and roll, but like you rocking. Yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, Shonda.
You're welcome. Thank you again for being on our show. And thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope that you found Allison's advice very helpful, and that you're going to start using music to help you heal. Remember to create that playlist of songs that's going to really get you in a good mood when you need it, or to embody that person that you want to become. And if you haven't already, you guys, please subscribe and leave me a review, because that's how we help this podcast grow. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I love you guys. Bye.